Hi there. It's May 11th and time for Proverbs 11. Let's jump over there and get into it. Now he says this. Absalom says it's all over Proverbs about dishonest scales are detestable to the Lord, but an accurate weight is his delight. Now, as long as there have been people selling stuff to other people, there have been people trying to cheat on selling stuff to other people. They use scales. We still sell by weight now. Back then they cheated on their scales so that what they were selling would appear to weigh more than what they were actually selling, and they would get more money that way. That goes on today still. Today they call it shrinkflation, where they actually make the product packaging bigger, but at the very bottom you see, instead of getting a pound now, you're only getting 12 ounces, and they're charging more for it. Okay? The Lord finds that detestable, as he should. This one's important. Verse 2, when arrogance comes, disgrace follows. With humility comes wisdom. I always stress the point of being humble as one of the most important qualities you can have, okay? Not saying anything, let other people build you up. Building yourself up always ends up in disgrace, okay? Somebody's always going to challenge you. Somebody that knows more than you will challenge you and then make you look stupid. So arrogance is not a good thing to have. Okay? Arrogant people, okay? Those are the kind of people you usually stay away from. Those kind of people, Verse 3. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the perversity of the treacherous destroys them. Okay? Integrity of the upright. We talked about integrity yesterday, and the day before, and probably the day before that. Always doing what's right, even if nobody's watching. Okay? And making that your nature to always do what's right. 4. Wealth is not profitable on a day of wrath, but righteousness rescues from death. You know what that says right there? You can't take it with you, okay? All this work and all this money and all this collecting, you can't take it with you. It won't help you on Judgment Day. Okay? Righteousness will help you on Judgment Day. Okay? Let's just highlight that whole verse. Okay? 5. The righteousness of the blameless clears his path, but the wicked person will fall because of his wickedness. Right? Right. Verse 6, the righteousness of the upright rescues them, but the treacherous are trapped by their own desires. 7, when a wicked person dies, his expectation comes to nothing, and hope placed in wealth vanishes. Got that? Hope placed in wealth vanishes. It says different things here. Hope reads hope of the ungodly, or strength vanishes. Yeah, hope placed in anything but God vanishes. Okay, you could say that. Verse 8. The righteous one is rescued from trouble. In his place, the wicked goes in. We're all waiting for that, aren't we? With all the stuff going on today. 9. With his mouth, the ungodly destroys his neighbor, but through knowledge, the righteous are rescued. Yeah, when you're found out. Okay, when everybody finds out the truth. 10. When the righteous thrive, his city rejoices. When the wicked die, there is joyful shouting. You look at a lot of cities now that are not thriving because of very bad management and very bad choices on the part of their elected representatives. I won't call them leaders, they're not leaders. And there are some cities that are very, that thrive because of the right choices and stuff. 11. A city is built up by the blessing of the upright, but it is torn down by the mouth of the wicked. Right. Same as above. You can look at the cities now, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York City. All the big ones who used to be the shining beacons, the crown, jewels in the crown, are now wicked and contempt. And there's people that are stuck there because they can't get out. But if you're not there, don't go there. Okay, 12. Whoever shows contempt for his neighbor lacks sense, but a person with understanding keeps silent. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. Keep your mouth shut. Okay? If you show contempt for your neighbor, they live right next door. Okay? Don't fight with them. If you don't like them, they don't do what you like, just keep silent. Okay? Keep silent, and that's it. An occasional wave. 13. And this is always important. A gossip goes around revealing a secret, but a trustworthy person keeps a confidence. You want to lose a friend? Gossip. Okay? You want to lose a lot of friends? Gossip. Okay? If you're the one spreading them around, somebody comes to you in confidence and says, I need prayer for this. Please don't tell anybody. And you go to somebody else, even with good intentions, saying, so-and-so needs prayer for this. He did such and such. You just told them their secret. And now that person, not knowing that the person came to you in confidence and said, don't tell anybody, is going to spread it all over the place. And it'll be traced back to you. Okay? Keep your secrets. 14. Without guidance, a people will fall. But with many counselors, there is deliverance. Right? Always get advice. Okay? Always get advice. Find an older person, somebody that's been around the block a few times and has fallen and gotten up, and say, hey, how can I do this without too much damage? And you can always get guidance. That's a good thing. 15. If someone puts up security for a stranger, he will suffer for it, but the one who hates such agreements is protected. Now, he probably talks about this in almost every, like every other chapter. He's talking about putting up security for a stranger. That's co-signing, okay? Today they call it co-signing. And what it means by a stranger, if your son or your brother or your friend comes up, I am buying this car from this guy. He doesn't trust me and he needs a co-signer. Can you co-sign for me to guarantee my loan? You are now putting up security, your own personal finances, for a stranger, somebody you don't know. Okay, you're not putting them up. You're not putting them up for your son or your friend or your brother. You're putting up security for this guy that's selling him the car. And if your brother doesn't pay for it, this stranger is going to come after you and take everything you own because you signed for it. It says don't do that, okay? Just don't do that. And he makes a point about saying this all over. If I'm one of these days when I've known all the Proverbs, I'm going to put all the points down, like 10 or 20 points that he reiterates over and over and over again. And this will be one of them, okay? Never put up security for a stranger. 16. A gracious woman gains honor, but violent people gain only riches. Ruthless or violent gain only money. Money doesn't fill that hole that only Christ can fill, okay? It's been tried millions and millions and millions of times, and you could look at most of these rich people and they're a mess. They're in rehab and they're on drugs, and no matter what they buy, nothing makes them happy, okay? So to gain only riches, it's not going to make you happy. You might think it will, but it won't, okay? 17. A kind man benefits himself, but a cruel person brings ruin on himself. Right? Always be kind. 18. The wicked person earns an empty wage, but the one who sows righteousness, a true reward. Right? 19. Genuine righteousness leads to life, but pursuing evil leads to death. Right? You can't put it more plain than that, right? Okay. The beginning of wisdom is to fear the Lord first. 20. Those with twisted minds are detestable to the Lord, but those with blameless conduct are his delight. Twisted minds. Now, something's different's gonna pop up into anybody's head when you say somebody with twisted minds. Somebody's gonna say, everybody knows somebody, okay? 21. Be assured that a wicked person will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will escape. Yeah. Be assured that the wicked person will not go unpunished. That's a promise that we should just keep saying to ourselves, right? A beautiful woman who rejects good sense is like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Yeah. He says that a lot too. Pearls before swine, they used to say. Right? And there are beautiful women who are no longer beautiful because they just got no sense. Okay? It's just... Yeah. 23. The desire of the righteous turns out well, but the hope of the wicked leads to wrath. If you're righteous, you're not going to desire evil things. Right? This is important. I'll make that yellow. One person gives freely yet gains more, and another withholds what is right, only to become poor. Okay? Now it says all over the Bible, in all parts of the Bible, to give to the poor. And if you give to the poor, you are giving to God, who pays you back with interest. It says it all over the Bible. It's guaranteed. But if the Lord fills your cup and you keep it to yourself, okay, and you don't pour it out, he's going to stop filling it. He'll fill it up and it's full. There's no room for anything else. Okay? But if you take your cup that he fills up and you pour it out, help the poor, he's going to keep filling it as you're pouring it out. And the more you pour out, the more he's going to fill it. And people on the outside said, that guy is always getting so blessed and gets so much. Well, he's giving a lot. The more you give, the more you get. Okay? That's what cup runneth over means. If you're pouring out, God's pouring in faster than you're pouring out. Okay? That's why people who give freely gain more. And the ones who withhold it, they don't get any more. They just stop receiving. They become stagnant. A generous person will be enriched, and the one who gives a drink of water will receive water. Same as above. A generous person will be enriched. That kind of goes together. If you give, you're going to get. 26. People will curse anyone who hoards grain, but a blessing will come to the one who sells it. All right. You ever known a stingy person, a hoarder that won't share anything? Even though he has more than he could ever use? Nobody likes people like that. 27. The one who searches for what is good seeks favor. But if someone looks for trouble, it will come to him. All right. I always love that. When you look for trouble, you're going to find it. Okay? If you're only looking for the good in every situation, in every person, you're seeking favor. Okay? People like it when you point out the good. 28, anyone trusting in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like foliage. Anyone trusting in his riches will fall. Oops. Got that? A lot of people trust in their money, and it's an inanimate object. It's mammon. It's a false god. 29, the one who brings ruin on his household will inherit the wind, and a fool will be a slave to someone whose heart is wise. Right. You think of a lot of different situations for that verse. I'm going to leave it alone today. But yeah. 30, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but a cunning person takes lives. A cunning person takes lives. Just for kicks, I'm going to open up the New American Standard and go down to verse 30. Yeah, see, now it says here, takes. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but one who is wise gains or takes souls. Takes souls. You know, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Doesn't say what connotation they're talking about. Right? One who is wise or cunning takes souls. I don't know. I have to do some research on that one. Verse 31, if the righteous will be repaid on earth, how much more the wicked and sinful? Right. You reap what you sow. Right. Look for trouble and you're going to find it. There you go. Let's go over our highlights. Highlighted quite a bit in this one. It gets kind of good in the middle of Proverbs. Okay, we talked about dishonest scales are detestable to the Lord, but an accurate weight is his delight. Right? Honesty. God likes honesty. And this, it went on thousands of years ago. It still goes on today. Okay? Highlighted too. When arrogance comes, disgrace follows, but with humility comes wisdom. Okay? Arrogant, full of yourself. Arrogance. 3 types of arrogance. Arrogance is the quality of being unpleasantly proud and behaving as if you are more important. All right. There you go. Arrogance. The quality of being unpleasantly proud and behaving as if you are more important than or know more than other people. Okay? You think you're all that, is what they say now, right? If you are arrogant, just what we said, proud, think you know more than everybody, disgrace will follow, because there will always be somebody who knows more than you do. Okay? No matter how much you know, there's always somebody who knows more. It's best to be humble, you know? Do you know this? Well, I have a little experience with that. Humble. Comes wisdom. Okay? We highlighted the integrity of the upright guides them. And we looked up integrity being the same when nobody is watching as when everybody's watching. Okay? And it could be as simple as returning a shopping cart to the cart area. Okay? Everybody's watching you. There's lots of people out. You're going to return it and look good. If nobody's in the parking lot, you can just leave it there. Will you do that? You have integrity if you return it when nobody's looking. Okay. We highlighted 4. Wealth is not profitable on a day of wrath, but righteousness rescues from death. Right? You can't take it with you. And I mean, you know, some evil rich people that are just evil, okay? And you can name them, but I won't. On Judgment Day, when God comes out, you think, Hey, I was rich. And do you think God's going to care? You know, people have said that to God before in the Old Testament. He goes, I own everything. I made everything. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. I named every tree and everything is mine. So you're not going to impress me. Okay? Not profitable. And this kind of goes with 4:7. We highlighted part of this. When a wicked person dies, his expectation comes to nothing, and hope placed in wealth vanishes. Right? You can't take it with you. Your money won't make you live one day longer. We highlighted 10. When the righteous thrive, a city rejoices. When the wicked die, there is joyful shouting. Okay? You remember Saddam Hussein years ago, in the last century now. He was an evil, horrible person. And when they finally took him down and he was hung, there was joyful shouting. And the city started thriving. And there's a lot of cities in here. Most of the crowning jewels of America are now corrupt, dirty, awful cities that nobody wants to go to. And at one time, in my lifetime, even granted it was back in the 1970s and 80s, people traveled from all over the world. I mean, one of the hottest destinations, back then was San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge. And I lived near there for a while, and it's a beautiful place, but boy, you wouldn't want to go there now. Okay, it's been taken over by wicked people, and the city is dying and it's dirty. Yeah. We highlighted part of 12. A person with understanding keeps silent. Like that. Okay. Whoever shows contempt for his neighbor lacks sense. Okay. Don't openly hate your neighbor. He lives right next to you, And at some point, you might need his help, okay? Now, I had a neighbor and he just didn't like me, okay? I was from out of town, and he's just, he was a good old boy, and you're not from around here, are you? And he just didn't like me, okay? And him and his wife live in this house next door. And they always hated us. They didn't talk to us. He was evil. Okay. I never said anything. I kept humble and quiet. Just, hi. Well, I had kids, grown kids living with me, renting rooms and parts of my house. And one day his wife's little dog escaped. And if you go about a half mile up the street, I live way out in the country, but half mile up the street, it's a pretty busy little highway out there. And their little dog had escaped. Some workmen had left their gate open and the dog wandered out and wandered away. Well, they were freaking out. Okay? And now, the wife, they had to come to me. Okay? After showing all this contempt and stuff. Well, me being a humble and a gracious person, they said, have you seen my dog? I'm so worried. So what did I do? I helped him. I said, we'll help you find your dog. So my boys, they went out, one of my son hopped on his motorcycle and the other one took off. And they found their dog for him. Okay. Well, that changed my neighbor. Okay. I mean, we're not buddies or friends or anything, but we're cordial. And we can talk, and we wave as we drive down the street, because show contempt for your neighbor, it lacks sense. A person with an understanding keeps silent. Well, yeah, I kept silent. And it fixes things. Okay? Be that person. 13, we highlighted, a gossip goes around revealing a secret, but a trustworthy person keeps a confidence. Gossip. Slender. If somebody comes to you in confidence, you better keep your mouth shut. Okay? Keeps it confidence. Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody else. You know, if somebody's in trouble, if somebody's sick, I mean, you have to say, hey, can I have some people pray for you? And if that person says, I don't want anybody to know, I'm embarrassed, then don't. Okay? But if a person comes to you in confidence, it means they trust you. And if you tell somebody else and it gets back to them, okay, they no longer trust you. And you have lost a friend, and possibly a lot of friends. And we highlighted 21. Be assured that a wicked person will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will escape. All these wicked people, they'll go, it's not your place to punish them. Okay? They will be punished. Okay, at some point they will be punished. You can be assured of that. We highlighted 22. A beautiful woman who rejects good sense is like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Okay, it does no sense to put expensive jewelry on a pig because he's a pig. Okay, pigs don't know any better. Okay. And you can see that a lot of pretty girls on TV and on the internet, they just don't have good sense. They don't. And, all the makeup and the adornments and stuff, they don't change the fact that, you can look at that person and think, that person's crazy. Okay? It's just... We highlighted 24. One person gives freely yet gains more, and another withholds what is right only to become poor. We talked about this in depth, so we won't. About giving freely, giving to the poor. One of the main themes of the entire Bible is to give to the poor. And you're giving to God, and He will pay you back with interest. Okay? 25, we highlighted, a generous person will be enriched, and the one who gives a drink of water will receive water. Okay? If you give to the poor and then if you become poor, you're going to get help. Okay? People remember that. Those two verses go together. And we highlighted 27. The one who searches for what is good seeks favor, but if someone looks for trouble, it will come to him. Okay? If you only look for the good in everything, you're going to find it. You're going to find good, and you will seek favor, and people will like you. Okay? But if you look for trouble, you'll find it. Okay? Just that simple. If you look for trouble, you'll find it. If you only pick out, there can be 100 things good about a person in one little annoyance, and you will tear that. And that's what they do in society. They tear that one little annoyance up until it blows up into nothing. Okay? Some said that a lie can go around the world before the truth even gets his shoes on. Right? Hey, 28 were highlighted. Anyone trusting in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like foliage. Okay? You're trusting in your money and your wealth and your stuff, you're going to fall. Okay? You're going to fall. You should only search for God, trust in God. Okay? And the other stuff will come. But there you have it. That's Proverbs 11 for May 11th. Talked quite a bit on this, didn't we? So, there you go. Stay tuned later today for our Through the Bible in 1 Year. We're on day 132. I think we're reading some more Psalms today. But till next time, stay humble. See you later.